I didn't prepare any slides for you today because I'm only going to talk briefly about an update on what I presented last time. So to give you a brief reminder of what's happened in England with cervical screening, all invitations were paused between March and June 2020. But from the beginning of June, those invitations started to go out again, and women who were under surveillance were the first to be invited back in the first 2 weeks of June, and thereafter everybody else was invited back. And so very similarly to the slides shown by Dr. Basu for Kaiser Permanente, we saw that huge drop-off in attendances to screening or number of samples taken. But by the time we got to July, we started to see that those numbers were above what we would have expected in 2019. So between July and December 2020, there was an average of about 25% more samples sent to laboratories compared to what would be expected for the same months pre-COVID. So good signs that the program was recovering. Nevertheless, by December 2020, there was still a shortfall of about 12% of samples compared to a pre-COVID period. So the latest guidance issued by PHE, which was in December 2020, urged providers really to prioritize the maintenance of services. And in particular, it said that screening and immunization staff should not be diverted to other services. So a really clear indication that even though we were going into the second wave and more lockdowns, there should be a priority for continuing screening. So in my previous talk, I didn't really tell you much about colposcopy services. There wasn't much known except that they didn't necessarily stop completely. But a very recent document published in March 2021, and it's a joint statement between the Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology and the British Society for Colposcopy and Cervical Pathology, indicates that even though colposcopy units didn't stop, they did have a limited number of appointments they could offer during the first wave in 2020. But when the screening resumed fully in June, there was a large backlog of appointments that were missed, which took a number of months to clear and have the provision return to near normal service. From what I hear, almost all colposcopy units have managed to clear that backlog, and there's a very small minority that still has some backlogs. But importantly, many units are still not able to offer the same number of appointments as they did pre-COVID. And this is due to either local guidance or social distancing or increased cleaning and all the things that go with the COVID measures. I think this is important because although there's no indication to suggest that secondary care has been hugely affected, in England, we transitioned to HPV primary screening in 2020. So we were already expecting an increase in referrals to colposcopy. And given that we've seen that increase in screening already, and there's a lag of between 2 to 3 months between that screen and women attending colposcopy, it is possible that we'll see capacity issues at colposcopy exacerbated in these first few months in 2021, particularly if attendance to screening continues to be above pre-COVID levels in this year. And that's all from me. Thank you very much.